Welcome back to Positively Port St. Lucie. I'm Sarah Prohaska, Communications Manager here at the City of Port St. Lucie. We are going to wrap up our show today, which is News You Can Use, with some information about a ballot question that will be on the November ballot for all voters in St. Lucie County. It's regarding the proposed half-cent sales tax. Now, I have very happy to welcome two very important people in Port St. Lucie to our studio today to talk about this. So today I have with me Russ Blackburn, our city manager, and of course Mayor Greg Oravec of the City of Port St. Lucie.
Hey Sarah, hey Russ, hey PSL.
All right, so we are talking about in November 6th ballot, there will be a question regarding a proposed half-cent sales tax increase. Russ, can you give us just an idea of how this came to be about and why this is needed?
Thanks, Sarah. For many years, St. Lucie County, Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce have all noted that there are not sufficient revenues to address the capital needs that the cities and the county have. Now, what's a capital need? Mm-hmm. That's a road, a sidewalk, it could be water quality. Our base budgets just don't provide enough funding to really address those needs. So in November, our citizens will have an opportunity to vote on whether they would like to levy an additional half penny of sales tax that would be dedicated exclusively to address those capital needs for the county and the cities.
Right. So it will be split between St. Lucie County, the City of Port St. Lucie, the City of Fort Pierce, and the St. Lucie Village. There is everyone, I'm sure, in the next few months will be seeing these flyers and advertisements going around: better roads, more sidewalks, cleaner rivers, because that's really the three categories of projects that this money could go to, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And it has to go to these projects. It cannot be used for anything else. Is that correct?
So the nature of the sales tax under state law is it can only be used for infrastructure. It's been further refined by the city of Fort Pierce, and St. Lucie County to identify exactly what projects will be built using the half-cent sales tax. All of those projects are infrastructure. In our case, it's sidewalks and roadways. And within our roadways, we include a few new roads, but also substantial resurfacing of our existing roadways.
All right. So when the city council decided, there is a set project list.
Yes, there is.
For Port St. Lucie. And when the city council decided on what these projects were going to be, how did they do that?
So the city council had identified a number of potential projects after seeking input from staff, but then the council asked staff to ask our citizens, how do you feel about these projects? So last year we did a citizen survey. It was a objective, valid, reliable poll, which we sent out to select Port St. Lucie residents. We identified the projects that could be funded by the half-cent sales tax. We asked our citizens to rank those. Which ones of these projects do you think are most important? And those projects, in the order that they were received from our citizens, are the projects that we'll be pursuing and funding if the half-cent sales tax is approved by voters.
All right. So I want to turn that over to the mayor, because a lot of these projects have been on our wish list and our to-do list for the city for a long time.
I'm preaching to the choir here, but out there for PSL, hopefully you know that we're dedicated to a strategic plan, has 7 strategic priorities, that we are doing a national citizen survey so that we can have data-driven priorities and measure our results and be accountable to our people as we push forward to our great future. And as I was teasing Russ, with their national citizen survey, we were able to go to the people and say, hey, we know that there's a lot of priorities in a city of 189,000. We know that we have 7 strategic priorities, but what are the very most important things to you? And that's what they were able to identify. And as Russ mentioned, there's a couple of new things, but really it's about improving and enhancing things we've already started on. So St. Lucie West Boulevard. Everyone likes to shop in St. Lucie West Boulevard. Everyone likes to visit the amenities and attractions. No one likes to sit in traffic all day.
Nope.
Like going to the Mets game, hate waiting for 2 rotations
Yes.
of a traffic light. So as part of this, we would actually improve every single intersection on St. Lucie West Boulevard. Sidewalks, been a dragon of Nita slaying for a long time in Port St. Lucie. Something, it's a legacy, it's a hangover from General Development Corporation.
Yep.
We have a sidewalk master plan. This would allow us to build out the whole thing.
Yep.
Within 10 years, done.
Yep.
Maybe we'll go to another level after that, but every single major road in Port St. Lucie, the ones where you have to worry about a lot of traffic and pedestrians mixing, which is a bad combination, done, all done. You know, in a city of 120 square miles plus, 189,000 plus people and growing, we have over 1,000 miles of roadways. And right now we're spending about $3 million a year to repave them. And that's an increase thanks to Russ's work on the budget and the team's work on the budget. This would get us up to where we need to be, which is more like $6 million a year. But it's not to say, remember, this is temporary. So you might say, you know, if you're a citizen, you might say, self, what is this? What is this? What happens when it runs out? Well, at the same time, over this 10-year period, we will go ahead and raise the background funding so that when this goes
away
and goes away in 10 years because it's a tax, it's going away.
And we haven't mentioned that, but it expires in 10 years.
We could be at where we need to repave our roads. And, you know, there's something just really nice about being the safest large city in Florida, having green, lush landscaping in our subtropical South Florida and fresh blacktop, and hopefully with sidewalks. Traffic signal coordination. Here's a big one, Sarah. And, you know, Russ, he's been in the community of the greater Treasure Coast for a long time, but he's only been our city manager for going on 2 years. And something that's been promised to the community for a long time is Floresta and the improvement of Floresta. And if you've been following this, and like if you go to a Councilman Carvelli or Councilwoman Morgan, who've been in the community since it was incorporated, I like to tease them, they've been around for a long time. This has been promised for a long time, almost as long as Crosstown, which is almost 40 years of a promise. Unfortunately, a previous council of the good old days of previous time, they chose to do Becker. There was only so much money, and they chose to do Becker over Floresta. It didn't get done. We went into depression. If we want to see Floresta get done in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to need a funding source like that, like the half cent. It's the only way. It's the only way it's going to happen. And if you care about that neighborhood and the corridor, if you look at the master plan, it'll bring a tear to your eye. It really is amazing. And it's not about kind of paving over a community. It's about bringing a community together and giving it something to be proud of. That road will be amazing for that community. And most importantly, it'll provide a sidewalk with street trees and a shaded path and bicycle lanes to the school. So it's going to connect the whole city. It's going to connect to the school. It's really something special.
And I think the city worked really hard with residents to develop this master plan for Floresta. The plan is, like you said, beautiful. It's on our website. Anyone could look at it, but it's not funded. Most of it isn't funded at this point, right?
No, it's not. In round numbers, Russ, what would you say that project is? 25 million or so?
It's about 27 million, I think, and of a total project, and zero is funded.
Zero is funded. Okay.
Zero funded now. So, if the half cent sales tax does not pass, certainly someday I think the council will find the funding for Floresta, but it may be many years into the future.
Yeah. So this is an opportunity for residents to.
There's just not $27 million in Russ's back pocket, the council's back pocket. I mean, to give an idea of scale to people. So Russ, I love Russ as our city manager. But sometimes, as any good teammates, we attack issues from different sides. And we were talking about, hey, how could we continue? How could we lower our millage rate 3 years in a row? How could we do it? And we were able to propose a 1/10 of a mil reduction. That's about $1 million. That's what that equals. $1 million. I mean, we're kind of arguing about, hey, let's keep this positive trend going. It'll cost $1 million. This road is, is a different order of magnitude. And so there's just not that kind of money laying around. In addition to Floresta, you got Torino intersection improvements. Torino is one of those hidden gems of PSL. But right now, they need some love, quite frankly. And there's some sticking points where California and Kashmir hit the loop, the Torino Circle, and it really backs up at certain times of the day. So this would allow us to put roundabouts in there, which keep traffic flowing and also allow for neighborhood improvement and identification. So those would be big wins and big improvements, not to mention, again, that they're a key part of the sidewalk master plan. Yeah. So you got a lot of positive things going on up there. And then, have you ever heard of Crosstown before?
No, I haven't heard of it.
You haven't? Well, it's this really important corridor, and we're building a bridge right now.
We just talked about Crosstown earlier in this very show.
Okay, I wasn't there. Thank you for letting me know. So we think that that's going to be done. That's separate from this, but how it's relevant is that the road is going to be done November 19th. And at that same time, something should have happened at City Center based on where the receiver is at. Should be going vertical. That means construction should be happening at City Center. At the same time, we're looking to beautify the US 1 corridor, starting with that northern section of where Crosstown comes in down to City Center. So if you would think of the city limits, kind of where Liberty Medical is up there, and then down to, hopefully, at least we could get to Tiffany/Lingate. But if you look at our US 1 section, and kind of the marketing corridor to City Center, it's not where it needs to be.
Okay. All right. So we are running out of time here, but there's a few other... Already, I know. But there's a few other points that I would like to get on. There is a website actually, anyone could go to our website, www.cityofpsl.com. Just put in the search bar sales tax, and all of these projects, details about them, costs will pop up. There's also another website, www.pslhalfcent.com, which also has much more information about this proposal that will be on the ballot. It'll be ballot number 14, the 14th question on the ballot. But Russ, is there anything else that you would like to add?
There is. Okay. If residents, if service organizations would like to know more about this half-cent sales tax, how Port St. Lucie would spend the money if the sales tax were to be approved, we would love to come and speak to your group. We would love to provide you individual information if you want more information. So you contact the mayor's office, you can contact the city manager's office, communications. So put in your request through the website.
Yes.
So any portal that you use for contacting our city, let us know you'd like to have somebody give you information about the half-cent sales tax. There may be an elected official that will come. There may be a staff member, but we promise we will be there. We would love to come and give you information about how we will responsibly spend this half-cent.
Great. All right, Mr. Mayor, any final words?
Yes, I have so much fun hanging out with you and Russ that, and I get so excited talking about the city. And answering your question before, let's see if we can just go down a list. So one, these projects are needed. Two, there's not a great alternate way to fund them. So they're needed, and they have to get done somehow. No one likes taxes, and yet that's how we fund essential governmental services. I'd ask the people of Port St. Lucie to look at this list and say, hey, what's not important on that list? I think it's a good list. I think it's better than good. I think they're needed. I don't think these are wants. I don't think these are wishes. I think these are needs, and this is a good way to pay for them. Why do I say they're a good way to pay for them? Because I feel like everything shouldn't be on the backs of just property owners and homeowners in Port St. Lucie. I think that everyone who uses this type of infrastructure should pay for it. I think that that's fair. And when you look at St. Lucie West Boulevard, when you look at sidewalks, repaving, traffic signals, and roadways, US 1, you're talking about amenities and infrastructure connections that a lot of people from outside the city and outside the county use. And this is the only way for them to be involved with paying for the needs that they help create. They're helping to generate the need for these improvements. This is the way for them to help pay for it. And before, people, pitchforks and torches and all, this is on the upside, it's estimated, at the high side, it's estimated about $60 a year per household for the typical household in St. Lucie County. It doesn't apply to groceries. It doesn't apply to medicine.
It only applies to the first $5,000 of a automobile purchase. So
That's right. When Russ is buying his new Beamer, capped out.
There you go.
$5,000. He's only going to pay $25.
Yeah, I was going to say, it applies to
So I want you to
5,000.
buy it, Russ.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
Yep.
So it is not that was a concern of people. So we would like, to let them know that's how it is.
It goes away.
It goes away in 10 years. Yes.
And 15%
I'd like to use 20.
15 to 20.
paid for by folks who are visiting St. Lucie
Yes.
County, not our residents.
And also there will be a local citizen oversight committee form to make sure that everything is spent exactly how we're promising it will be spent. All right. Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Blackburn, for coming on today to really help us get this information out there for people who, might still want to know exactly how this will happen. So, and also the websites are a very good resource. All right.
What is that website?
Well, you can go to www.cityofpsl.com, search for sales tax, or www.pslhalfcent.com.
Okay.
Either one of those chock full of information.
Are you going to put a little footer down
We
there?
definitely will. But for the radio audience,
And
that's
feel free
where
to
go.
call the City Council office at 772-871-5159. Again, that's 772-871-5159.
All right. Well, that's about all the time we have today. I really appreciate both of you taking the time to come on today. And thank you for listening to us today. We hope you got some news that you can use out of this episode of Positively Port St. Lucie. Thank you.